The Simple Fix. My name is Kerryn, and today we're talking about 5 simple minutes that can take your hips from pinching and in pain to open and ready for the day. Now, most of the time, the hip joint is feeling compressed. The femur is really tightly embedded into that hip socket, and therefore you are feeling a bit of a pinching in the joint or in the groin, often when you're trying to do some exercises. So in order to help this out, we want to create space within that hip joint. We want to literally take that femur and move it ever so slightly away from its socket so that its range of motion is no longer compacted, it is free to move. This is my go-to hip opener. It is active, not just passive. Yes, you need to stretch. Yes, you need to do your release balls. However, you also need to activate to create that space. So we're going to start on all fours. Now, some of these exercises may look quite familiar to you, but I want you to go ahead and really listen to the unique cues that I am giving. So we're going to be on all fours. We're going to place right elbow down, left hand keeping me up. We're going to start by using my left leg. So I'm going to send it behind me and put those toes down. I want you to notice though that my right knee is directly underneath my right hip, okay? I'm not all the way up here. That is going to cause a pinch. I'm going to keep that underneath. Now my main focus is my left leg. So I'm going to imagine that someone is pulling my heel away from me, okay? I'm sliding that foot literally as far back as I possibly can without actually moving my pelvis. So I'm sliding that heel back, and I'm going to slide it so far back that eventually it's going to start to lift, lift, lift. This is not just kick my leg into the air. This is drag my leg behind me so much that it is lifting up, lifting up, lifting up. Pause at the top of that and then slowly come back down. A very big difference to just kicking my leg up, okay? My body stays stable. I drag that heel away from me as much as possible, and I lift it up. Now, once I've done about 2 or 3 of these, and I'm starting to feel the space happening in the front of the hip, I am then going to take it up and hold. So this is my third rep. You may want to do a few more, that's fine. From here, I'm now going to find rotational space. So I'm going to open up the hip. Now, I have also opened up my bottom hip, okay? So both hips are now in rotation. Notice again that my leg is not very high. It's lengthening away from me, and I'm opening as much as I can. I'm constantly rotating both thighs away from each other, exploring external rotation. Hold for 3. Still imagining that someone has my foot. They're pulling my foot towards the back of my mat. For 3, for 2, and 1. And I'm going to bring that down and just take a second. Very, very simple. Backwards hip extension, opening up into rotation. I'm going to turn around and do that on the other side. So this time it is going to be left elbow down, right hand on the mat. Right foot goes out behind me. That is my starting point. I'm going to start by pulling my right heel away from me. Notice how my leg literally gets longer. It gets longer and longer and longer away from me, and then it starts to lift. And it can't go very high, okay? If it could go very high, then we'd have a problem, because then we wouldn't be exploring that length, and lengthening it to come down. And when I'm doing this parallel hip extension, focusing on length, I'm trying to imagine that the space in front of my hip, on my hip flexor, is getting longer and longer and longer, and I'm pushing that leg away. And I want to be careful not to open the pelvis while I'm doing this. And again, one more time, lengthen, lengthen. Now, this is my third one, so I'm going to hold. I'm really pushing that heel away from me. Now I'm going to rotate both hips. This is for my underneath hip as well as my top hip, okay? Rotate. I'm thinking about lengthening that leg away and opening both thighs. How much rotation can I find? I'm going to hold that there. I'm going to lift that leg a little higher, lengthen it away from me a little bit more for 4, 3, 2, and 1. I'm going to bring that in and relax. A very simple, active lengthen, lift, and rotate can take my hips from feeling crunched and pinchy to open and more receptive to my workout. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like and subscribe and keep following for helpful, effective, and safe tips to keep you moving better and pain-free.